Hey, Dr. Keith here. Today I want to talk to you guys about gut health and what you can do, because the biggest thing I want you to understand is that all health and all disease originates in the gut. So the one thing I want to talk to you today about is diet and digestion, because the one thing you can do to improve your digestion is that you have 100% control over is what's on the end of your fork and what you stick in your mouth, but also your body's ability to digest your food. And that is simply chewing your food thoroughly. And these are the two things that I really want to go over here today, because when your diet is off, when your digestion is weak, this leads down the road to leaky gut issues, SIBO, which is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, large intestine toxicity, and when your digestion system is weak and your small and large intestine are out of balance, then this is going to hyperstimulate the immune system and cause chronic inflammation throughout the rest of your body. And this is where all kinds of health issues can come from. So let's start at that first domino, which talks about diet and digestion, okay? Now, when we're talking about what's on the end of your fork, a lot of times people think that diet is so confusing and there's so many different diets that are out there. But diet is really not that difficult, okay? What we want you to consume more of is organically made fruits and vegetables, your wild-caught fish, your grass-fed beef, right? Your pasture-raised chickens, and your seeds and your nuts, okay? Now, they have to be organic in this way, because what we want you to avoid is more of the conventionally raised fruits and vegetables. Your conventionally raised beef and chicken. And why? It's the way that they are processed and made and manufactured in this country. So the conventional fruits and vegetables and crops are actually sprayed with Roundup and glyphosate as a drying agent before they get harvested. And this is putting a lot of toxins on that food that you are consuming, which will then destroy and cause inflammation in your gut and cause issues with your stomach and digestion problems. So you are poisoning your body with the types of food that you're actually eating. The way the chickens and conventional cows are raised nowadays, they're pumped full of hormones and antibiotics, which then you are getting that as well, which is then overstimulating your system and is making more inflammation in your body. Farm-raised fish such as tilapia and salmon are fed GMO corn and soy feed. So if they're being fed GMO food, then that's going into their skin and then you're eating that, so you're getting the GMO foods that way. Why are GMO foods or genetically modified organisms bad for you? Well, simply because they are genetically modified. They have been manufactured in a laboratory where they have certain proteins that are in there and poisons that our body simply cannot digest. You've got these foreign proteins that are being manufactured in a lab that our body doesn't have enzymes to digest. So every time that you're eating those types of foods, you are then poisoning yourself or making your system work a lot harder, and when your system becomes overloaded, that's where a lot of health problems can come from. Artificial sweeteners, right? Splenda, NutraSweet, Sweet and Low, all these types of artificial sweeteners are basically poisons to the body as well. So these are things, when it comes to diet, to make it as simple as possible and just kind of get back to that more paleo type approach with just eating your clean meats, your fresh fruits and vegetables that are organically made, and your seeds and your nuts. The second thing, we're talking about chewing your food. We live in a very fast-paced society. We're always on the go. We don't have time to sit and eat. We don't have time to go out and shop and prepare our meals. It's so much easier to go through a drive-through, and when we're eating on the run, we basically take a bite of food, we chew it 3 times, and then we swallow our food whole. And we wonder why we've got health issues or digestion issues. So the biggest thing that you can do to strengthen your digestion system is simply chew your food more thoroughly and take the bite of food. And what I tell my patients is implement something that's called the fork rule, where you take a bite of food, you put your fork down, and then you simply chew, and you chew, and you chew, and you chew, until that bite becomes almost like a liquid soup before you actually swallow it. Then once you swallow it, then pick up your fork and then take your next bite. If you can do this efficiently, you may notice two things. Number one, your jaw may hurt because you're chewing more. And number two, you'll eat less food because you're chewing it and you're getting more nutrition out of the food that you're actually eating, okay? So this is the number one thing that I see, that people that have digestion issues, they simply do not make the time to sit and chew your food. So eating is fun, right? Enjoying all the different textures and things that are out there. So make the time, put it in your schedule to sit and eat, so when you do sit and eat, you actually sit and eat. You're not eating while you're driving, you're not eating on the go, you don't have 4 minutes to consume a meal, okay? So again, kind of getting back to all health and all disease starts in the gut. And the two biggest tips that you have are what's on the end of your fork and chewing your food more thoroughly. So I hope this is helpful for you. I'm Dr. Keith.